Our first question comes from Pablo R. He couldn't be here today, but he writes, I've always wondered when to use after or afterwards. Now, I think this is really a wonderful question because after and afterward seem to be quite similar. And so it's entirely to be expected that a person might wonder, well, are these synonyms? Are these distinct words? How does all that work? So, Pablo, here is a short, but I hope a clear and helpful introduction to the difference between after and afterward, and we might as well throw in afterwards as well. So let's start with after, which, although it's shorter, interestingly, it has more uses than afterward. So we use after in three ways. We use after as a preposition. We use after as an adjective. We use after as an adverb, and we can also use after as a conjunction. So let me give you three examples, and I might as well write these down so that you can see them. After lunch, we took a nap. Here we have after, and it is part of a prepositional phrase, and that prepositional phrase consists of after serving as a preposition and lunch being the object of the preposition. After lunch, we took a nap. So that is after as a preposition. Now we also have after as an adverb. This is admittedly less common, but I just want to give you a taste of the versatility of this little word after. Let's see here. So for instance, I might say, I might be telling you a story. I might be telling you about my day. And I might say, I had a grand lunch with some friends. We decided to take a break in the middle of the day and to have some toasty sandwiches and to drink some tea and enjoy some conversation. And I took a nap after. Here, after is actually serving as an adverb because it is answering the question, when? I took a nap when? I took a nap after. This sentence is more or less the equivalent to something like, I took a nap later. And similarly, later in this sentence functions as an adverb. It answers the question when. I took a nap when? I took a nap later. Now there's a third use of after, and this is as a conjunction. And this is when we use it for somewhat more involved sentences, such as after we went to the store, comma, we walked through the park. Here, let's get a new color. Here, after we went to the store is introducing an entire clause. That entire clause is, we went to the store. After we went to the store, we walked through the park. And this is, of course, the clause that Marie and I talk about in the basic grammar course as a subordinate clause. Why is it a subordinate clause? Because it couldn't stand on its own. If I said, after we went to the store, and just stopped, you might be led sort of to dangle in the air. After we went to the store, what? What happened then? Then we get the principal clause, we walked through the park. So this is a third use of the word after. So I'll pull that down for now. And I notice a question in the chat about the word after. But the after lunch seems also to be a when word. And that is an excellent, excellent point. Let me pull this up again. Yes, so after we went to the store also tells us something about time. Excellent observation. After lunch tells us something about time. I took a nap after tells us something about time. The question that we use with adverbs as in the second example, I took a nap when, I took a nap after, is a question that allows us to see adverbs acting in consort with or in association with a verb. The other examples, after lunch, does tell us something about time, but in this case, it is telling us about time in the form of a prepositional phrase. Now, prepositions we tend to think of as being about location. I put the papers on the desk. I walked through the park. The fish swam in the water. In this case, prepositions are telling us something about location. However, prepositions also help us to locate ourselves temporally. They help us to locate ourselves in time. So, after lunch tells us it answers the question when, but it answers the question as a prepositional phrase, beginning with a preposition after and the object of the preposition lunch. Similarly, in the example with the subordinate clause and the principal clause, after we went to the store, after also tells us something about time, but it does so in such a way that it is grammatically showing us that we have a subordinate clause. After we went to the store. I'll give you another example. We could say, because we went to the store. Here, because isn't telling us about time, but it is also creating a subordinate clause. Because we went to the store, we bought some new notebooks, for example. So that takes us through after as a preposition or an adverb or a conjunction. Now, this is all a large preamble to showing how after is different from afterwards. Afterwards or afterward is only used as an adverb. For example, and I can just do this one out loud. We went to a movie and ate dinner afterward. We ate dinner when? We ate dinner afterward. I might as well put that up because I want to show you one more distinction with it. So we went to a movie and ate dinner afterward. Here, ate dinner afterward is doing the work of an adverb. It's answering the question when in relation to a verb, in this case, ate. We ate when? We ate dinner when? We ate dinner afterward. Notice that we could actually say after instead. We went to a movie and ate dinner after. That would be fine too. Afterward is a more involved sort of directional word that is used for sort of suggesting direction, if you will, in time. Now, here's the key distinction between after and afterward, in addition to the fact that after can be these three parts of speech and afterward can only be an adverb. The other distinction to make is that we can't substitute afterward into the place of after as either a preposition or as a conjunction. So for instance, if I said up here, suppose I said, afterward lunch, I ... Afterward lunch doesn't make sense because afterward is not a preposition. So we can't make a prepositional phrase out of it. Similarly, if we wanted to try and change after we went to the store, and I said afterward we went to the store, we walked through the park, again, we have a different kind of sentence. I could say afterward we went to the store, period. Then we have a complete principal clause. But if I say afterward we went to the store, we walked through the park, then I've jumbled my grammar and made my sentence less clear. So hopefully that gives some sense for how to understand the difference between after and afterward. Now there's this one more piece that I said I would talk about, which is afterwards. And in fact, afterward and afterwards are in fact synonyms. And in colloquial speech and everyday speech, particularly in North America, both of them are perfectly acceptable. However, in printed material, most North American editors prefer afterward without an S because it has a more formal feeling to it. So if you are writing for a formal situation, Pablo, you can use afterward. If you're speaking with friends, feel free to use afterwards. I hope that that has answered your question. If there's any questions in those who are gathered here, you're free to raise your hand or put it in the chat. Or, Pablo, you're welcome to write to me and see if there's anything else that you want to clarify. But that is after, afterward, and afterwards.